One of those nights where the cold chills you to the bone, Harry, a quarry worker, stumbled upon a strange thing, a white, bubbly substance that, to his surprise, was absolutely delicious. Seeing a golden business opportunity, he encouraged a colleague to try it. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, young Jason woke up covered in mosquito bites and half asleep. He went down to the kitchen. There he found the surprise of his life. The white, creamy substance was moving on its own towards a goblet labeled the stuff. When his father appeared, nonchalantly, he brushed it off and sent the boy back to bed, not without first taking a good lick of the dessert. And, as in any good story, the plot thickens. A small group of guys with more money than common sense gathered on a yacht to discuss how the stuff was eating up the ice cream market. Having no idea who was behind this success, they decided to hire Rutherford Moe, a retired FBI industrial spy. Moe, no fool, met with them, gave them a spiel about how to infiltrate the company, and, of course, handed them the bill. While this mess unfolds, at Jason's house, the boy warns his brother not to fall into the trap of the stuff, that something strange is happening with their parents, who now only have eyes for the blissful dessert. Jason was convinced that the dessert had a life of its own, but his brother, with a spoonful in hand and half mocking, threw him a "come on" and gobbled it down. That was too much for the boy, who with a slap knocked the goblet from his mother's hands and stormed off. The mother, with an incredulous look, kept talking wonders about the stuff, that it doesn't stain, that it has few calories, and that it's finger-licking good. But Jason didn't care. Elsewhere in the city, in a laboratory smaller than a closet, Moe and his colleagues were racking their brains, trying to figure out how it was possible to produce such a substance in large quantities. A colleague blurted out that the recipe for the stuff was more closely guarded than the secret formula for Coca-Cola. Just then, Moe introduced a woman who seemed to be undercover trying to find the elusive formula. A couple of days passed, and Moe showed up on a set where they were setting up a breathtaking photo shoot with models and all the works. There he met Nicole, the brains behind the stuff boom. After giving her a few compliments, Moe, sharper than hunger, dropped that he was interested in buying her agency to promote an oil company. Nicole gets her act together and decides it's time to do something, so she gathers her courage, puts on her nicest dress, and sets out to investigate Moe. When she finds him, she suggests they have dinner at the hotel where he is staying, and Moe happily agrees. On the other hand, Jason is in a supermarket and can't believe what he sees. People are wiping out the dessert as if there were no tomorrow. What catches his eye the most is a boy who is gobbling the dessert straight from the container. Without hesitation, Jason snatches the container from the boy's hands and starts destroying all the desserts in the store. Two employees have to restrain him while he, already unhinged, screams that the dessert is going to end them all. Meanwhile, Moe poses as a reporter and manages to get an interview with Mr. Beckers, a guy who has been with the FDA for years. In the conversation, Beckers confesses that the FDA really skipped analyzing the ingredients of the dessert because, after all, it didn't have nasty side effects like drugs do. However, Beckers tells him that both he and his dog Ben are fans of the dessert, although lately Ben has been acting a bit strange. Moe learns that the FDA conducted tests on the dessert in Virginia. When he gets the test documents from Beckers, he realizes that Beckers is afraid of his own dog. And that's not all. When Moe goes to Beckers' kitchen, he is astonished. There are stacks and stacks of desserts everywhere. Beckers hands him the documents with the names of everyone involved in the tests, and after Moe leaves, Beckers promises Ben that he'll buy them a nice gift. After midnight, to top it off, Ben finds a store selling the dessert at 2:30 in the morning, when everyone should be asleep. Meanwhile, Beckers is trying to scream for help. It turns out that Ben, Beckers' dog, has turned into a savage beast. In a fit of rage, he rips the phone cord out of the wall and, without a second thought, lunges at Beckers' neck while dessert seems to ooze from his mouth. The next day, Moe decides to go to Stater to look for a man named Harold Melville, who worked at the FDA. But when he arrives, he realizes that the town is almost empty because everyone has moved away. There he encounters a man who arrives in an old car and heads into the woods. Moe sees no one inside the car, but suddenly, a man jumps from the back and attacks him. It turns out to be Chocolate Chip Charlie, another dessert magnate. Charlie tells him that he is investigating some mysterious people who have taken over his company and are distributing the dessert. Mo tells him that he is on the trail of the same people who have now moved to Stater. Afterwards, Mo and Charlie go to the post office and discover that many people have forwarded their mail to Midland, Georgia. The remaining postman in Stater dodges Mo's questions and locks himself in a back room. Mo and Charlie set out to interrogate the postman, but at that moment, strange noises come from the back room. When Mo goes to investigate, he finds the dessert oozing out of the postman's mouth and escaping through the window. Then, Charlie opens the door, and the two discover the lifeless body of the postman, with his mouth open unnaturally. Mo jumps through the window to chase the culprit, telling Charlie to brace for the worst. Suddenly, a group of people appears and chases Mo and Charlie. When they hit their faces, they find them covered in the white substance of the dessert. The two manage to escape in a boat, but the postman's body revives after swallowing some of the dessert through his mouth. Mo and Charlie take refuge in a diner, and when they mention the dessert, the waitress becomes alert. Mo, sensing the danger, tells Charlie to go to Washington, D.C. to meet with FBI Special Agent Frank Herbert, and they split up. Charlie and Mo are chatting with a couple of customers when the waitress heads to the cold room, where they store all the town's product. Please show me you like the video with a like and a comment. It would really help me out. Thank you. Suddenly, an employee at a product stand stares at Mo, grabs a walkie-talkie, and starts talking to someone on the other end. Almost getting run over by a truck loaded with the product as he crosses the street, Mo narrowly escapes. Later, the spy sits down to chat with a marketing executive named Fletcher. The man reveals that people seeking the product were hooked even before the tests. There goes Mo, dropping it on Fletcher, who he learns has a mining operation in Midland, exactly where the residents of Stater have moved. The two exchange a few barbs and threats until Fletcher offers Mo $25,000 and the position of head of security. Mo accepts, thinking of using the opportunity to learn more about the product. Later, Mo tells Nicole, his new flame, all the grim details behind the product. She tells him he should report it to the police, but he says no, as he isn't very well regarded by most of them. In the lab, Mo learns from the news about Jason's disgust with the product and immediately goes looking for the boy. Meanwhile, Jason, who is grounded, discovers that his family is abandoning their usual food for the product. When he finds them in the living room, they are there praising the benefits of the product with a creepy gaze. The boy tries to bolt from there, but Jason's older brother forces him to come back home, and his father gives him an ultimatum. He can rejoin the family if he eats the product they are offering. But Jason, who is a sharp kid, goes to the bathroom, dumps the product in the toilet, and when that creamy thing tries to come out of the toilet, he flushes it down. He then tricks his family into thinking he is eating the product, but what he really has in his cup is shaving cream. Just as he's escaping from home, he runs into Mo, who arrives in his car and tells him to get in. Jason gets in after Mo tells him they think alike, and they drive off, leaving behind the addicted family. Then they arrive at a hangar where a private plane waiting to take them to Georgia. Nicole is stunned to see that Jason is not coming with them. The next day they land in Midland, Georgia, where Fletcher has all his mines and quarries, while Jason falls asleep on the plane. Mo poses as Nicole's secretary and meets with two executives, Howard and Grimsby, to get to the plant where they make the product. Meanwhile, the postman suddenly appears on the plane and attacks the pilot with the white substance. Jason wakes up terrified and escapes through the cargo hold, ending up in a cave in the woods. Nicole and Mo stroll through the plant pretending they are going to shoot a commercial, and Nicole asks someone named City if they can see where the ingredients are mixed, but City tells them that's top secret. Meanwhile, Jason finds himself in one of Fletcher's mines, covered in dry residues, and sneaks into a tanker truck, but a worker closes the hatch, trapping him inside. That night, Mo and Nicole stay in a motel. While they are sleeping, the product explodes from a pillow and attacks Mo. Nicole, terrified, sets fire to the substance while Mo pulls the product off his face. But suddenly, a stranger controlled by the substance attacks them. Mo and Nicole survive because the substance is overwhelmed by a new wave of residues coming out of the mattress. Mo burns the substance on the man with an oil lamp and a match, and then follows Nicole out of the motel while the burning substance emits a deafening screech. Mo and Nicole, with a newly acquired van intended to return to the factory, but something caught their attention and they ended up following a caravan of tanker trucks. What they didn't know was that Jason was trapped in one of those trucks. They arrived at a quarry and were amazed to see how they were pumping a viscous substance directly into the trucks. Mo had a realization. This thing was going directly to supermarkets without any kind of control. Without hesitation, he disguised himself as a worker and told Nicole to wait for him further ahead. He placed explosives on the quarry walls, knocked out a guy he thought was shady, and then suddenly heard Jason shouting from one of the trucks. Without hesitation, Mo stole the truck, rescued the kid, and blew up the quarry, burying the pool of substance under a mountain of rocks. But that's not all. While Mo was driving the truck with Jason, Nicole was in the van, fending off a possessed mailman who, to top it off, ended up being run over by Mo. Eventually, the trio managed to deceive and capture a dodgy cop who, according to Mo, was possessed by the substance. The next day, Mo took the gang to a heavily guarded castle, commanded by Colonel Spears. Mo told the colonel a story about a spy job and, by the way, scared him with the story of the substance. So the colonel mobilized his troops to invade the substance factory. But when they arrived, they discovered that most of the workers were dead, possessed by the substance. Nicole, who couldn't handle the pressure, ran away from there with Jason. But then, a giant wave of the substance chased them down the street, gushing out of the plant. After that, Colonel Spears decided he had had enough of the substance. So, Colonel Spears decided the best way to alert the country against the substance was to use his radio stations in Atlanta. Along with Mo, Nicole, and the rest of the team, they headed to the city and, upon arrival, jumped into taxis straight to one of the stations. There, Spears ordered his message to be heard in every corner of the country and any announcement of the substance to be immediately removed. While Mo and Nicole were fully preparing the message, suddenly Chocolate Chip Charlie appeared, wanting his voice to be heard in the broadcast too. At first, Spears was not interested, but Mo convinced him that Charlie's fame was worth its weight in gold in terms of airtime. Nicole took Charlie to one of the recording booths, and that's when things turned ugly. It turned out that Charlie had already fallen prey to the substance, which threatened to devour Nicole and Jason. But Mo, faster than lightning, entered the booth, used a bare wire to electrocute the substance, and rescued the two. Shortly after, Spears stepped up to the microphone to launch his warning to the world, asking people to turn their backs on the substance. Mo also took the opportunity to offer some extra advice. If they had the substance at home, they should cook it. And hey, it worked. In the following weeks, the news was full of enraged people, waging war against the substance and those distributing it. People were throwing away and burning the dessert, destroying stores, and blowing up the plant where it was produced. Nicole recounted the whole movement in a televised message that Mo watched while Fletcher, the schemer, was in his luxury office. Fletcher told Mo that the quarry incident wouldn't stop the substance from sprouting elsewhere. He revealed that he had been devising a plan with the executive who had hired Mo to rename the substance as the Taste, a lighter version that only contained 12% of the substance, but enough to hook without controlling people's minds. Then Mo, who is no fool, called Jason and, gun in hand, threatened the two executives. The kid placed a box of the substance on the table, and Mo forced old Fletcher to eat the dessert. It wasn't long before the two executives succumbed to addiction while Mo and Jason left, leaving them there with the imminent arrival of the police. Meanwhile, on another side of the city, a gang of criminals was smuggling boxes of the substance for a guy who was already totally hooked.